We are delighted to welcome back to our microphone Margaret Moore, Coach Meg. She is a wellness coach and will speak to us about the importance of wellness coaching. Also co-authored a book coming out. You will be among the first to hear about it because its debut will be in January 3rd of 2012, called Organize Your Mind, Organize Your Life. Now, Coach Meg, you've written this not just with some moke off the street, but with a Harvard psychiatrist, Paul Hammerness.
Yes, and hello, Christopher.
Hello.
I have, and what a delight that is, because I don't know whether you knew this, but I was a biologist first. I spent 17 years in the biotechnology industry, and the last biotech company I led was in neuroscience, and I never imagined that my coaching life, which is a very different life, would lead me back to the brain. And here we are. And I was approached about writing this book. The whole notion of the brain and how you can use our brains better and how quirky our brains are is really coming alive. I mean, there are probably 10 new books on this now. And so I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to work on this one.
And I think that many of us focus on, it's another book about organization, but we want to be clear, it's really about something extraordinary, the neuroscience of brain organization, which gives us some tools for what I think you're calling self-coaching.
Exactly. So we are fortunate because the discovery of the syndrome of ADHD or ADD, attention deficit disorder, has spawned a whole era of research around what's happening in the brain for people who are struggling with these deficits. And the book is based on that research, and in particular six software programs built in the brain that we all have, and people with ADD have deficits in these. But in today's world, we're all distracted. You know, people are struggling to focus and use their attention well just because we've overwhelmed the circuits with the digital era. So although it's based on the science of attention deficit disorder, it is widely useful.
We should establish some credibility here. You're not exactly just a coach that walked in off the street. You're co-founder and co-director of the Institute of Coaching at McLean Hospital, which many people know as an affiliate of Harvard Medical School. Also co-director of the annual Coaching in Leadership and Healthcare Conference offered by Harvard Medical School. So you hang around some smart folks.
Well, yes, I am lucky that my husband brought me to the Boston area 12 years ago. Because
I followed a man.
I wouldn't have been. Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny, Christopher. I don't think I've ever shared this publicly, but I so badly wanted to get into Harvard Business School a long time ago. And I was so disappointed when I was turned down. And so here, 30 years later, here I am, being affiliated in many ways with people at Harvard, and it's been a great joy to me, and it's a two-way street. I've brought a lot to the various things I'm working on there.
I can just imagine parading back and forth in front of the Harvard Medical School admissions department. Harvard Business School admissions department, and sort of like, oh, you want me now, don't you? Like with an old girlfriend or boyfriend that we've all been there. Okay, we should also say that you co-lead the National Consortium for Credentialing of Health and Wellness Coaches. Yeah. This is a large consortium, 73 organizations developing a national certification, training, and education standards. In addition, you publish blogs at Psychology Today, little rag there, and Huffington Post, something that a few people stop by, as well as you tweet at Coach Meg. Let's talk about what is we live in arguably the wealthiest country in the world, and we are the most obese country in the world. Mm-hmm. What is the fundamental piece that's off in your research, in your awareness, in your clarity about our society? What do you think, what is it that we're doing so wrong that has us be so poor in our day-to-day health?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I can offer some answers that I think contribute to some of the solution, but I would also say that I think there's more to come, and thankfully, because I've got lots of work to do in the future. There's a new paper out in the New England Journal of Medicine that came out in November, which is a study of health coaching in obese clients, comparing telephone coaching with in-person and group coaching sessions with a control group. And the results are a landmark. 40% of the coaching clients were able to lose and sustain 5% weight loss at 2 years. And 5% weight loss is considered to be the number that brings significant health benefits. It's like you teach your body that, or you tell your body that you're not going to overload it all the time, and it responds beautifully. You get a lot of health impact from just losing 5%. So what that says, is that the coaching approach, which is allowing people to come up with their own unique formula and, provide the conditions and safe place for them to really figure that out, maybe for the first time, and then experiment and try different things until they figured out what works for them. I think that's one part of the solution. Another part, which we bring into coaching, is that we know that we're learning about the biology of emotions and the biology of positive emotions and how they tap into the calming side of the nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, and they calm your heart rate and your blood pressure, and they make you think better, your brain works better, and in particular they lead to a higher level of resilience, significantly higher. And 80% of us are below the tipping point of 3-to-1 positive to negative, which means that 80% of us are struggling to flourish and don't have sufficient resilience to make changes that last. So people fundamentally feel kind of underwater around how to, it just feels like a mountain to move to lose weight. And so another ingredient is to really give permission to people to thrive more, and even if they only focus on building more purpose in their lives, better relationships, more meaning, using their strengths more, enjoying the little things in life more. If they do all those things, those have now been shown to cause improved physical health. So even if they don't lose weight, they're better off. So that's another agenda. And then the third one, which comes with the new book, is that, and I was just looking at some of the research yesterday, roughly a third of people who are obese have ADD. And so what happens is that when you're distracted and you're kind of in a state of chronic frenzy, you get done what you absolutely have to get done at work and maybe in your family life, but your self-care gets left behind. So you've good intentions to take better care of yourself, but you're just pooped by the time you get everything else done. And so when you're distracted and disorganized, the self-care suffers. So working on being more organized and productive and creative in your days can create the space for you to take care of yourself. So those are some good starts and new frontiers to move forward on.
Well, I love that, and I apologize for being behind in my reading of the New England Journal of Medicine, but it's it's an extraordinary thing. So many of us are looking for some evidence that there's return on investment for coaching, whether it's in an organization, but personally, I think it was something that we'd all be surprised at. The other thing I'm taking away with all of this delicious information is that really we can provide a huge service by lowering the gradient for people. If small changes over time make a huge difference, we can certainly, work with people to find that gradient in those areas where they actually love what they're doing, are experiencing more enjoyment in life, and over time that's going to produce real wellness, real benefit.
Yeah, that's true. Our physiology and our brain biology are complex systems, and they're unique too. The way my brain and body works is different from anybody else. Yours is the same. And so in the end, you need a there needs to be a few things you work on that together produce synergistically what you want. So, and that you can't do any other way but experiment. And if you can get into a mindset of, rather than say, absolutely, I've got to be exercising 5 days a week in this way and, in 3 months' time, if you say, I'm going to experiment with exercise, I'm going to see which works best for me and, on all fronts. And Barbara Fredrickson, the positive emotions expert, has taught us that if you don't get a benefit that you notice within 2 weeks, you won't keep it going. So if you don't notice, and I have my own story about meditation. It took me 20 years to find a meditation that I liked, and thank goodness I did recently, because the book is about a calm, organized mind, and I've never had a more calm mind. But it took me 20. You know how many meditations I experimented with?
I can't imagine.
I they felt kind of nice, but nothing to write home about. Nothing really moved me, and that's the thing about health. So I never stuck to it. And so you have to find things that within a couple weeks you say, I'm sleeping a little better. Oh, my energy's a bit better. Oh, my cravings were down. I'm not I'm not gobbling down the donut, And when you are in a kind of really aware of, what your body is telling you, and you try things. And in a few months, you can try enough things that you say, you know what, it's this plus this plus this plus this. And now it's not such a struggle anymore.
Great.
These are easy things for me, and I see the benefit, and gosh, thank goodness I have found my own formula.
When we come back, I want to talk more about the book and at least to get a drive-by, a sort of a fly-by view of the state of wellness coaching. We're about to take a break, and I want to send people to the website. Check out CoachMag.com. You can also look at Wellcoaches.com, and finally, instituteofcoaching.org. So that's CoachMeg, MEG.com, Wellcoaches.com, and instituteofcoaching.org. And when we come back, I think you've got a giveaway. You're a generous guest, and you've got something to give away to our listeners. Is that true?
It is.
I'm very excited.
It's Christmas.
And meanwhile, that's right. It's the holidays. And get something for yourself. We are, of course, speaking with Margaret Moore, Coach Meg, and just a bio that would blow you out of the water. Extraordinary in so many ways. Check her out. Her blogs at Psychology Today, Huffington Post. She tweets at Coach Meg, and we'll be back with more right after these words. You're listening to The Coaching Show. Stay with us.